We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Thursday, and we got a lot to talk about. Kristen, of course, was on yesterday. We have another guest today, Matt. Matt has been on the show, but it's been a while since he's been back, so we're glad to have him back. Matt is in Ohio. He's a younger guy, so that's always good to hear from some younger folks as to what's going on in this country, and it's a fucking mess. So, Matt, welcome back.
What's going on, Boom Squad? How we doing, Mike? Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Glad to
how's
be
it going
back.
in Ohio? How's it going in Ohio at this point?
Oh, I had my cargo shorts and my tank top on earlier. It was a nice 34 degrees. So it
Well,
was
yeah.
a little bit of
I w-
sunshine in there too, about an hour maybe.
yeah, I was in Savannah this past weekend and it got down to 25 and had 3 inches of snow and everybody's hair was on fire. And they said, "What do you think?" I go, "This is like fucking Tuesday in Minnesota. This is nice. Three
Right?
inches of snow don't do shit. It closed that whole town down. You couldn't
Yeah.
go anywhere because nothing was open. We
It's
haven't
only been
talked
the
to you
last few
since.
years they'll cancel school around here where it gets too cold for school because a lot of kids will still walk, right here in
Yeah,
town. So,
yeah. I don't remember when I was a kid, when winters were winters in Minnesota, I don't remember them shutting the schools down very often. Certainly not because it was cold. I mean, there were a couple times when the snow was so high it was ridiculous. They did shut it down, but
right.
now you get a fucking snap in the ear and they shut the thing down.
Yeah, it was minus 22 the one day and minus 19 the next. So I got
That,
it.
yeah, that's pretty fucked up. You got to shut the school down, man. That's there. There was a comedian I saw one time who who came to Minnesota when it was really cold one time. And the first joke he told was, "Why would anybody want to live in a place where you can die by just going outside?" And
Right.
that's literally the
Yeah.
case. If you're outside at minus 20 for any period of time, you're going to be in fucking trouble.
Yeah, you got to bundle up or beware for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we haven't talked to you since the election. You said it was last spring. And obviously, things didn't go as we planned. How you been feeling since the election? Well, what are your thoughts about how this all played out?
I tell you, the way it was, I'll just say it, the way it was kind of forced upon all of us, or, how it ended up getting laid out. But I was excited. I was ready for Kamala. I
Yeah,
was jazzed up, excited, um, talking to friends and family as much as I could, to anybody that I knew that was on the rational side of things. And they, from what I could tell, were on board. But I tell you, I was out mowing the lawn and I had my radio going in my earmuffs, and
yeah.
it came across the radio that Trump picked DJ Vance, and I about fell off the mower laughing so hard because I just
Well, yeah.
thought,
You're in Ohio and
that was
he's
your
your
dumbest
senator.
pick. Great, that was great.
Do you
And
think that the tech bros forced him to do it or bribed him to do it? Because he wasn't a great choice.
well, we know they did, yeah. Knowing what we know now, of course, yeah. They're. I think that's why he's been so quiet. He's got his own plans going in the background,
Yeah.
letting Trump and all the other people deal with the noise.
Well, he'd only been a senator in Ohio for a couple of years, right? Most
Year and a half, barely.
year and a half, and obviously he didn't do much for the state.
And at the time, most of the people around here were referring to his book and his interviews where he's going around saying he's not a Trump guy, but I'm still a Republican. And
But
then
now
he
he's a
ended up
Trump guy.
beating Tim Ryan just by, it was like 2 points or a point and a half. I mean, it was super close.
Does that surprise you that he beat Tim Ryan? It surprised me.
Yeah, a lot of us were pretty surprised about it.
And I got to think, once he became vice president, he didn't do shit for in the Senate. He didn't even show up, did he?
He wasn't hardly there to begin with. So, yeah, who knows what. He's just like that leechy worm that's kind of hanging on to everything, but he's not unless he says something, you don't know if he's there.
Right. Well, so
So he's
Donald
just,
Trump wins the presidency, and this has got to freak a lot of people out. In Ohio, you're a red state, so there's got to be a lot of happy folks around there. But the people you hang out with got to be a little. I mean, when I woke up that morning, my wife said, "This is what she said to me." She said, "That motherfucker won. You promised." I'm going, "Oh
oh yeah.
fuck! How
I
is
was,
this even possible? It makes no sense."
yeah, I was feeling so anxious and nervous and just ramped up. I couldn't sleep. And I was watching the TV till about 11:30, around midnight. Um, Real early, but it wasn't looking good. And even my mom was still texting me, "Oh, Boomer, this isn't looking good." And I'm like, still a lot of time left, Mom. So I
Yeah.
passed out on the couch, woke up about 3:30 in the morning, and I think it was that Dave Mirror guy he was already, all right, well, we might as well start prepping everybody now. It looks like Donald's going to win this thing. I just
Well,
couldn't
didn't it
believe
seem
it. And then
didn't seem like they gave up a lot faster, the media and such, than they did in 2020. It went
so
all
quick,
night.
so
It was
fast.
like 10% of the votes are in, Donald Trump wins. I just didn't
Calling
understand that.
states with 10, 14, 17%.
Yeah.
The optics didn't look right, didn't feel right. We had the enthusiasm. We were ready to win this fucking thing
And, and the money. And the money.
and the money. And that was a little, we had Tammy Wilson, you had her on the show. She was going up
Right.
against Jim Jordan for the district right up the road from me. And I don't know how reliable the Hill is, but the last time I looked, it was probably a month and a half before the election. And I think she was only able to raise like $980,000 while Jim Jordan
Yeah.
had like 8 million.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I didn't see any of his signs. I didn't see nothing of his. So 3 weeks before the election, and he has this bogus ass commercial with kids running out of the school with the blue stripe American flag and ominous music playing and just so it's still disappointing, but now it's already over with and you're just moving on to all these we're 8 days into this thing and it feels like 8 months already.
Yeah, it really does. It's what do you think about all that's going on? I mean, he came out with a flurry of shit, some crazy shit. Did that surprise you? I mean, he promised that, but I
I'm
didn't
not
expect
surprised at
him to
any of
do
his
that.
shit anymore, honestly. Anything that he says, anything that he's gonna do for the next three whatever years, I he could start a war in a week, and I'd be like, "Well, what do you think was gonna fucking happen?" I mean, it's all right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, true,
It's
true.
got everybody at a lot of people on edge, and it driving around before the election. My older sister recently moved back home from Washington State. she lived she lives out in a suburb right outside of Cleveland, and going to her neighborhood was awesome. All these houses are right next to each other, those close knit neighborhoods,
right,
street after street after street. There were so many Kamala Harris walls signs. I mean, it was amazing. It was that blue sea, it was that blue wave of them, and maybe one Trump fuck on a whole road.
right. Well,
It's like, okay, wow, this makes more sense. And then it was polar opposite when you come to my house. But then there's all these houses out here that didn't have anything, didn't have
right.
nothing. So
Well, you
now it kind
find
of
out,
makes you think.
yeah, it makes you really think. We found out that there was some sketchy shit going on during the election. We know this because there were sanctions put on Russia and Iran by the United States because of that executive order that Donald Trump created. So we know some sketchy shit has gone on. We know the Republicans tend to gerrymandering and Donald Trump, if he's involved, it's fucked up. Did you expect anything to happen? I mean, there was a lot of people who said, "Oh, just wait, we're going to bust Donald Trump for stealing the election," and of course, nothing happened. What were you thinking about that?
I was kind of on the same boat with you guys as, you better show me some damn good evidence from a damn good source. And
Right,
what the hell is the DOJ going to do about it?
right, right.
So
It,
until serious stuff started going down, I wasn't going to buy into it. But my aunt, she lives down in Dayton when she's here in Ohio. And she sent me a video, or no, I sent it to her. I got it from somebody else, but it was a video about I forget the two guys. I'll have to send it to you. But they went back and looked at all the data that's been turned in from the states now that the counting is done, and you can basically come up with over 4 million votes, 80% of which were mail-in ballots that were tossed,
right,
just
right.
completely tossed out. And you
Well,
can
it's
damn well
interesting.
guess that the majority of those were Democratic votes, and they were all within the 5 key states. So that right there will fuck up any election. I don't care who's running it or how good you think
Yeah.
you're running it. These gerrymandered Jim Crow law bullshit, you're not
Well,
going to have a fair election. It's
Kristen was talking about that too, and she basically said, most of us after the election looked at it that a bunch of Democrats were sitting on their thumbs and they didn't do anything and they're at fault for it. I've said that many
that's the other
times, and
half
maybe
of it.
right, that's the other half of it. But she pointed out the same thing you did. There is data that shows that there was a lot of funny stuff in the sense of purging votes and gerrymandering and all this stuff. Uh, and that could, her point was not as many people betrayed us as we thought, which is good to know. But again, we have the Republicans and Donald Trump and Elon Musk doing all these things to fuck with the election. We get evidence that they fuck with the election. Um, and my premise was okay, fine. Say he did all that stuff. Say you have evidence. So what? What are you going to do? They haven't held Donald Trump accountable for anything up to this point. Why would they do it now? And they didn't disappoint. They didn't do a fucking thing about it.
Nothing. Nothing that we saw.
How does that make you
No.
feel about the Democrats? Are you a little?
I'm pissed. You better grow a spine and grow it fast because you lost this one and you told us it was over if we lost this one. So now we're hanging on by the skin of our teeth.
Right.
And at the same time, you want your younger leadership to get rolling. And then you got these old bags,
Well,
uh,
doesn't as a
Pelosi.
younger guy, doesn't it annoy you seeing people like Pelosi or Schumer voting for things and strategizing for things that they'll be dead by the time it's fucking happens, and you're going to be stuck with it? That's got to piss off a younger guy like you.
Of course it does. It's ridiculous. That's why there needs to be an age limit. Term limits is one thing. That's going to be really hard, but an age limit, I can see that being maybe an easier route.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're probably right. Now,
Serve as
Donald
many
Trump.
terms as you want. You hit 70 years old. Sorry,
Yeah,
bye. You're gone.
yeah. I agree. That should be old enough to retire. I mean, you made all this fucking money. You've had your
68. You want to
power.
make us retire at 68? You're fucking done at 68.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That's not a
Whatever.
bad idea.
Whatever the number is.
We talk about Donald Trump breaking laws, and even though he probably broke some laws in the election, he never stops. I mean, he
Two in the last
fires
couple of days, the last I've heard.
right. Yeah, I mean, he fires 17 of the inspectors general, which is illegal because he's got to give them 30 days notice, and he's got to have some reason for it. And then, of course, he does what he just did a little bit ago. Uh, Says he's going to freeze federal funding for untold amounts of shit. And people were scurrying around and upset because it was going to affect Medicaid and it was going to affect school lunches. It was going to affect all this stuff. But again, he breaks these laws. My question is, so what? What are you going to do about it? Show me that you're going to do something about it, before you start talking about illegalities. Because, as far as I'm concerned, where I grew up, if you don't get caught, it ain't illegal.
Right, exactly. You got to show some sort of backbone, some sort of slap against the head of somebody that's gonna,
Well, it's
but
it's
it's
frustrating
not
because
gonna
we
happen though. These people he's putting
no,
around him are worse than the first time. So I mean,
yeah,
I don't know if it's gonna come out of the Senate or midterms, or I think they're just kind of letting shit pile up right now to build so much against him that it just boils over, and they come back on the people that are around him and start
I get
threatening
the
back on their shit because
I get the idea that the Democrats are just standing back and watching it burn and rubbing their hands and warming up because
I can
they've got
see
to
it too. I mean, what
let that
we
fucker
tried
burn.
everything. Fuck it. This is what you wanted.
Yeah.
It's got to burn for a little bit, and then we can deal with smolders rather than 10-foot flames. So
Well, they had a problem with this freezing of the federal funds because they didn't specifically say what they were going to close. Everybody presumed it would be Medicaid and welfare and Section 8. And there was a lot of pushback. People were freaking out, especially even Republicans who voted for this shit. They're freaking out and crying on TikTok and all this shit. And then Donald Trump and the Republicans say, "Oh no, we didn't mean welfare. We didn't mean Section 8. We didn't mean Medicaid." Well, what the fuck did you mean? If you're going to write an executive order, be specific. This is the problem with Donald Trump. He's throwing everything against the wall, seeing what sticks, and if people push back, then he pulls back, he steps back. That's just what he does. He's playing
it's
us.
what he's been taught. It's what he's been trained his whole life to do. So he's still
Yeah.
doing it. Why would he stop? Nothing has stopped him up until this point. So what, you know,
You know,
I
I've always said as an old retired white guy, almost anything can happen, and it's probably not going to affect me very much because my life is pretty well set. Pension, I'm not working, I'm not going to buy a house. I'm not going to do those things. My biggest concern are for my kids and my grandkids, and you're roughly the age of my kids. How do you feel at this moment about the future of this country? Because I would be terrified if I were you.
it is going in a direction that my age and younger definitely has not seen yet, at least to this extent. But that's almost kind of half of it. We are in an age of like constant distraction slash
Chaos. Yeah.
chaos, whether it's politics or shit you're trying to do in your own life that,
Throw in P. Diddy every once in a while and the fucker gets
you
crazy.
trickle in all this other stuff. It's just, how can you focus on this shit? But yeah, I mean, it's gotten to the point I've got myself so wrapped up into politics now. 5 years ago, I couldn't list off half of these people that I'm talking
Yeah.
about today. But the thing that kind of sticks in the back of my head is there's always that running joke about, politicians lying and like dirtbag politician. But these politicians are people that are voted in by the people. They're supposed to
Right.
represent us, and it's more than just a doormat joke. It needs to be taken more serious than that. It needs to be definitely needs to be a civics upgrade in this country at some point in
I'm
the
really
education
disappointed.
system. And
I'm
there's got to
disappointed
be,
in the intellect in this country. It
oh
seems to be
man,
that there are a bunch of stupid people in this country. They can see Donald Trump, they can hear Donald Trump, they can watch what happens, and they
they
just
can
line
live
up
through
and
them
vote for him
once.
again. Yeah. Yeah.
We've already
It's
been into this situation to our knees. Well, now it's at our fucking neck,
right.
and everyone's still, oh, he's just moaning and complaining. And what he's doing now with all these executive orders and shit is, it's there's other shit going on in the background. So he has to flood the zone with stuff that's just going to pop off and get everybody talking. And,
Right. I
meanwhile,
tell
all these other countries are ganging up and laughing or getting pissed or
you know
filing
I
charges against his boyfriend. Pick your
yeah,
poison. So,
I get people coming to me all the time and they say they're scared. And that frustrates me when they say that, because if you understand what a bully is, the only win a bully has is if you're scared of him and you defer to him or you back up. That's why at this stage, we got to stand up and push back. Otherwise, the bully wins, and this country cannot afford to allow Donald Trump any more wins than he's already gotten.
yeah, 100%. That needs to be right there front of mind for everybody that wants to, when people say, well, what do we do, what do we you take in the facts that all of us know, and you use those facts as your ammunition at the very least
Right,
when you hear or when you see somebody starting off spouting off bullshit, when it's that easy to call it out.
right.
And when you do hit them with facts, you can ask any of us. They don't know what to do. They pause, they freeze, they divert, or they just walk away.
One of the complaints people have about Democrats, and I never thought about it because I'm not of that age group, but I've since looked into it and I kind of get it now. Did you feel like the Democrats weren't really addressing issues that are important to you and people of your age? I mean, they said the economy's great because the stock market's going good, the GDP is good, all these things that don't really impact you or people of your age. Did you feel like the Democrats stepped on their own dicks by not addressing the problems that you guys are dealing with?
They had their message from top to bottom, and they kept going this way, but they needed to start from here into the message, at the bottom
Right.
into the message, not at the middle of it, and work to the top with loans for people. Get it? It's, yeah, stock market's great. If you got a 401k, it's banging.
Yeah.
If you can spend the extra money and go do extra things on the weekends and stuff, it's not really hitting you that hard. But everybody knew the real concerns, and it's just easy to go the economy,
Yeah. Yeah.
because what I
Well,
see in the grocery store, it's the economy.
right.
What
Well, and see
what I have
that's
to pay
that
to have a car now because it's so high, it's the economy. No, it's a hell of a lot more than that, and you got to do or listen or pay attention to what's going on to understand these things, not just blame it on one word and leave it at that and act like you're right.
right. I think the word economy means different things to different people depending on how old you are, where you are in life. The interesting thing that's coming up is that in 2028, it said that the majority of the voters will be millennials and Gen Zs. The old people will have gone by the wayside. We'll still have some impact, but boomers are dying at
There was a lot
5,000
more in
people a
this
day.
election for what turned out. You could see it
Yeah,
starting to turn already, and it's only going to
yeah.
get more and more. So, yeah.
Let me ask you this though. I think the real problem, you can talk about high prices and all that stuff. I think the real problem in this country for the younger people is we don't pay people enough money. Raising prices wouldn't be as big a deal if people were paid a living wage. Now, some people do, of course, but the fact of the matter is you you go to college, you get saddled with all kinds of debt. You get out of college and you get a job paying a menial wage, and now you're expected to try to buy a house and buy a car and have some discretionary money, but there isn't any. And it's not just a few people, it's everybody of your age. I have my own kids that have dealt with it to a certain extent. They just can't make enough money to survive. If you make X amount of dollars, but you need double X to rent a fucking apartment, that's a big problem.
It's a huge problem, and that's exactly what it is. If you had the extra funds out of your check and everything else was going up around you, and you wouldn't feel it as bad. But my age, 38, we got our house in fall of 2018.
Right.
Now, taking all the politics or whatever of the time, that was a great time to buy a house because a lot
Right.
of the interest rates were down. It was a buyer's market, it was a seller's market all at the same time. And I want to say it was before all these hedge funds started buying up everything, obviously, because we had a lot of options. But what we settled on was actually my grandparents' old house.
Okay.
We just randomly found it when we were looking. Holy shit, there it is. But just a couple years after that, if we would have went through the same scenario, the same everything, it would have been, instead of 18, if it would have happened in 20 or 21, we'd be looking at a 7.5 interest rate instead of what we have now. And, spending all this extra money on the same exact thing.
Right.
But everything else went up, and then your wages stayed roughly the same or went up a very little bit. I'm making more money now than I ever have. But at the same time, things are tighter now more than they ever were. So
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. I'm not the only one, for damn sure. There's a shit ton of
No.
us. It is the working class. That's what the message needed to be around. And for people that were paying attention, it was in there. But what really happened with this election is, if, I love Joe Biden. I'm so grateful for the president that he was
Yeah.
and everything he got done for us. But when he didn't stick to his word saying he was a transitional president, that's what screwed the pooch.
Yeah. I think you're right. People say,
110%. You
should he
have a
stayed in?
Democratic primary and Harris comes out of it, we win this election 85 million voters
Yeah. I think you're probably right.
plus.
That was a bad choice. Now to give Biden fair credit, he looked at it as, he's 82 years old, but
I understand exactly where he's coming from. I get
when
it.
you're
You beat
when
Trump
you're 60,
already. You can do it again.
and it was important that he did it. Put it this way, you're 38, I'm going to be 65. In my mind, at 65, I think I can do what I did at 30. Realistically, that's not possible. And I'm sure he thought, well, I've done this for 50 years. I'm a little older now, but I can handle this. And then when he got there, he probably could handle it. I'm willing to even bet that if he stayed in and rode the waves of that stupid fucking debate, because Donald Trump looked just as bad in the debate against Kamala, if he would have rode it out, he would have had a better chance of winning than Kamala, I think.
Yeah, I could see that too. But then again, it comes down to how many votes get tossed out if Biden's on the
Well,
ticket. How
yeah,
many, all
yeah.
the other outside bullshit that affects our elections that shouldn't.
Well, it's interesting. Donald Trump has only won the presidential election twice, and each time he was running against a woman. I think we found out that there's a fair amount of racism in this country, but there's even more sexism. There are some people, especially women, that just cannot vote for a woman for president.
You think that gets under his skin a little bit, though, that he was never able to beat a man? He always had to beat a woman to get his spot. Let's start
I
putting
think
that
if
on signs in people's yards and shit.
Yeah,
See if
that's
that
that's not a bad
ruffles a
idea.
little bit of feathers.
Well, that's a good point because after he won, people came to me, "Oh, what are you going to do now? You got nothing to talk about." Now, you know what I got to do? I got to talk shit about Donald Trump every day, just like I did for 4 years previously, and make fun of this motherfucker. And it just so happens I enjoy doing that. So uh, I'm in for the ride.
Yeah, now we get to kick back and get louder, and you get to listen more and more.
Oh, and
These
they aren't liking
fucks,
it either.
these
They aren't
stupid
liking it
fucks
either.
around here. They still have their Trump flags and shit in their driveways. It's fucking terrible. I just want to go add a sign. Please support our criminal felon president.
Yeah. And
Farmers for
it,
Trump. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, well,
Or is
if
that
the
what you want
farmers,
again?
yeah, well, the farmers for Trump, he fucked them the first time and then bailed them out. But here's the deal: don't expect to be bailed out again this time. The only reason he bailed them out is because he needed their votes.
Needed their
He
votes
doesn't
again, and he got them in a
he
way.
doesn't
But
need their he doesn't need their votes now. I mean, Donald Trump has gotten everything he can possibly get from the Trumplafucks. He'll throw you under the bus. He'll do anything to you. He doesn't give a shit because he got what he wanted. And if you know anything about narcissists, that's a common trait. But these dumb fucks fell for it.
yep, 100% hook, line, sinker, and they're gonna feel it if they aren't already. We're already 9 days into this shit, so buckle up.
Well, I don't know what he really means about these freezing federal loans and subsidies and shit. But if he was going to do all of what that pretty much laid out, the farmers would lose their subsidies too. I wonder how they'll fucking like that after voting for him. I'll be honest with you. These people who voted for Donald Trump, um, if they feel the pain, there is no sympathy from me. I'm going to giggle my ass off at them and point at them because they deserve exactly what they're getting.
That's what I'll give you credit for, Donnie. Somehow you were able to still pick off a little more a little more scab of uninformed off of the top layer that you already had and put it onto your fucking non-existent mandate less than
Yeah.
50%.
Yeah.
Congratulations, good job. You still 6 electoral votes.
Well, the interesting
Hey, you
thing is
want a cookie?
if he had a mandate at all, the mandate would have said lowering prices of eggs, lowering inflation, lowering energy prices, but he hasn't even looked at anything like that. Take a look at the House of Representatives. I told people before, this old soul told me that she was talking to a Republican one point. She goes, "All right, we got the House, we got power in the House." She said, "Bitch,
Yeah.
you've had
Yeah,
the
I was
power for
laughing
two
at that one.
years. You
Yeah.
haven't done anything." And look, it's only been what maybe 3 weeks in the House. They haven't accomplished a fucking thing. And guess what Mike Johnson says? He never would have said it before, but now he's in a different position. He goes, "Yeah, we'll probably work with the Democrats for the debt limit." Democrats should say, "Suck my dick. We ain't working anything with you."
We're done. We're done with this dog and pony show that you think you have control of right now. You just
Let
pissed
him
off
burn.
Mike Turner. I hope this asshole sticks to his word. He is a
Yeah,
Republican, so I doubt it. But if he does, you just lost another seat.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Everybody. I think Kamala thought by campaigning with Liz Cheney that she might be able to pull some of the disgruntled Republicans over to her. What we found out many times, the Republicans will fall in line lockstep with Donald Trump, whether they want to associate with him or not. They just do what they're told.
I think she had the right idea with joining up with her, but she should have done that with like a week until the election, not
Yeah, probably.
5 weeks until the election, and just put it on
Well,
the end of the cake. You're right there. You're so close, and I understand it completely. At that time, she's probably thinking, "We're all lockstep. We're ready to go. We're 81 million deep if you go off of history. So how about I grab some more votes off of the guy that won't shut up about windmills and blowing
he's
microphones? So
he's still
why
talking
not?
about windmills. He's still talking about windmills.
Still won't shut the
Uh,
fuck up about him.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I think he's finding a little different situation than he was the first time he was in. First time he was in, some of the other countries were kind of fearful because they didn't know what he would do. I think now at this point, other countries are just laughing at him because they know he's a fool. He's incompetent. He doesn't get anything accomplished. He just breaks things. He's like an incorrigible child. He'll go and break things. He doesn't build anything. And all they can really do is sit back and laugh at this stupid motherfucker.
I think they're all in a group text together. Like they're all cool as fuck with each other, just laughing, making fun,
Probably.
poking shit. This Claudia Scheinbaum is doing an amazing job with Mexico and
Absolutely.
sticking up for herself and her country. It's awesome. And you just sit back, and my mind goes, damn it, what if she was talking to Kamala and actually had a fucking rational thought going on this side of the border? Sorry,
Yeah.
no.
What do you think about Elon? I've always said that Elon and Donald Trump, that bromance won't last very long because you got two narcissists and they'll just fucking eat each other alive. Sounds like it's starting to break up now because he was going to have an office in the White House next to Donald Trump. And Susie Wild, the chief of staff, said, "Yeah, now you're going to have an office across the street." That had to piss Elon off a little bit.
I hope it did, but he's just sitting there knowing he's got the president and he's holding his fucking pocket. So
Yeah,
I didn't say he's in his pocket. I said he's standing there holding his pocket. And if you
right.
know, you know.
Yeah, yeah. What did you think about the Zeke Heil thing? Did you think he was just saying, "My heart goes out to you"? That's hilarious.
That's a fucking joke. To try and blame it on Asperger's syndrome is just an embarrassment. You should be embarrassed at yourself if that even comes across your mind as some sort of excuse. There's no bottom floor anymore. They'll say anything, they'll do anything, they'll come up with anything.
Yeah,
And if it starts to seed, it starts to catch and sprout. There's some other load of shit that gets thrown on top that covers it up.
do you
And
think
that's
people have?
a lot of what's going on right now is what kind of the Ben Marcellus Midas touch theory, or not theory, but response right now is just there's always something going on in the background. So when he's talking about and taking over the fucking Panama Canal out of nowhere, he's covering up for something else that's happening, whether it's these bullshit picks or it's this executive order that he didn't even read. He's got to ask the guy next to him before he signs it
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah,
Weapons of
yeah.
mass distraction.
That's
100% all day, every day. That's all he's doing.
Well, that's what I've always said about Donald Trump. He's all about performance. There is no substance behind him. He doesn't do anything. He's lazy. Like you said, yeah, I'm not going to have time to golf. Well, when all the shit started hitting the fan, he was out fucking golfing.
Well, where are you at?
And
You're doing
it's
all fucking golfing.
yeah. I hope he does golf a lot. The less he's in the White House, the better. He just likes the position. He doesn't like the work. And that's going to be interesting to see how he deals with that as time goes on. Because right now it's fun, it's exciting because it's brand new. But there's a certain amount of drudgery and work involved in being president. He just does not like that shit.
Just go look what happened between 17 and before the pandemic hit. It was all he was doing. It was barely there, golfing, running his mouth,
Yeah,
and we're
he's
in. It's just going to be real interesting to see what keeps coming down the pike here in the next few months. And
but that might be a saving grace for us too, because he's so incompetent, because he's so lazy. That'll ultimately mean that he probably won't get much accomplished. I mean, we see all these executive orders, and a lot of people out there think, well, he said it, so it's going to happen. And we know that Congress plays a pretty big role in these executive orders. They can shut things down. So he's not likely to get it done, like this federal funding freeze. He already got kicked back by a court. He'll get kicked back in the appeal. He's just trying to make noise. I don't think he really believes any of this shit's going to work.
no, it's all performative garbage.
He's a
100%. It's this whole thing was him staying out of prison.
Yeah,
Even though that we were 2 years behind the ball, Merrick Garland, you nutless fuck,
I
uh,
agree.
we were still that close to pinning this asshole on the wall. If you really think about it, you take
Yeah,
one of those delays away, this guy's got more felony charges or he's in
right.
court.
Absolutely.
So it's just sad to, congressional subpoenas. You can wipe your ass with those.
They aren't worth anything. No,
They're not
apparently
worth
not.
nothing. Uh, you know, it's just
It is terribly frustrating that nothing ever seems to happen. I'm curious as to what you think about what Donald Trump is trying to do with the federal government. If he had his way, he'd fire all the federal employees, which makes no sense. We kind of need federal employees. But he did something the other day. He said, listen, you guys got to come back in the office from your remote jobs. And what he doesn't understand is there's a lot of people in the military that work for the federal government that live in other states. So for them to come back in the office, that's not that easy to do. But what he told them was, if you don't want to come back in, you want to retire early, we'll give you 7 months severance pay and you just quit. And his premise is there's like 2 million employees, and he's hoping that 10% quit and they lose 200,000 federal employees. I don't know what that does to productivity, but my big question is where's that fucking money coming from? Where is the money coming from to pay these people off for 7 months' pay? 200,000 of them. That's the thing. He's just spending wildly, but he has no place to get the money from. He's going to be broke here soon because with all the deportations and stuff, all that costs money too, and he's just spending like a fucking drunken sailor.
yeah, to watch the deportation things happen is very sad and frustrating to say the least. But then to watch only 80 people get loaded up onto one of these giant military cargo planes that can fit my fucking house,
Yeah,
costing us 9 times as much
eight hundred
just to
thousand
just to
dollars a flight.
almost land and then be like, no, we're not taking them, turn that bitch around.
Yeah,
Oh, this
yeah.
is running smoothly. What's the conservatism in this? How much what
Well, it's interesting. I saw an interview on one of the channels, and it was with the guy who had the Homeland Security or the borders are with Biden. And he said, look, when we were doing what we were doing, we were at capacity. We only have so many beds. We have only so many resources, and we're running at pretty much full load. Now, he said, you can do what Donald Trump's doing, but where's he getting the resources? Where's he getting the money? We've been begging for money for fucking years. So is Donald Trump just spending the money without having the money? Wouldn't be surprising with that dumb fuck.
well, like what was reported already, he's pulling all these agents from all these other resources.
Right.
So I bet that's got to play a part in it somewhere along the line.
Well, yeah, the salaries are, he's pulling people out of
Well, I mean,
ATF,
yeah, those
Homeland
people are all still
Security.
getting paid and what,
Uh,
but yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's not how it was running before. It's not how it was set up. So yeah, it's gonna boil over, and we're gonna know about it some way through somebody.
If I'm an international terrorist and I know that Donald Trump has 5 to 10,000 people from the ATF, Homeland Security, and the FBI, if I'm going to attack something, now's the time because they're all busy getting kids out of fucking schools.
Right. Yeah. It's
He's putting this country at risk by putting these people in a job that they shouldn't even be doing.
what was the name of the guy that just resigned when he didn't have to? He had the 10-year term.
Chris Wray
Uh
from the FBI.
FBI director, right.
Chris Wray, right.
In his farewell speech,
he listed off like 4 or 5 events that could have happened that did not under his watch. They weren't able to go down because of the information that they received, the intel they were able to grab and follow through on. One of those incidents would have been a terrorist attack in Cleveland, Ohio during the 4th of July.
Wow.
That's, you watch everything else go down, but right here in the backyard, I fucking love the city. I cherish this city. I hear everybody talk shit about it. I just shake my head, but you grow up as a little kid, in this little podunk town, and when you get to go to the big city, it's just like this big magical thing, and
Yeah.
it's awesome. But I couldn't even imagine some sort of something like that happening on top of what we've already seen with other
Well,
attacks. But it's, that kind of shit gets stopped when you have the people in the right spots to do their fucking job. And now
right.
he wants to put everything in a blender and just see what happens when you go to drink. That's not how you fucking run a government. And he knows it.
And we've seen how he deals with potential threats that are happening. He's not a big planner. He's not a big strategizer. In fact, he's the opposite because
Polar opposite.
He knew that COVID was coming. And what happened? He said it was nothing and 1 million people die. So if 1 million people
The
died
first
from
thoughts he
COVID,
probably had were, how can I fucking dodge this? How can
yeah,
I hide
right.
this off? And just, and then boom, he's asked about it. He's standing there. Oh, it's a hoax. That's China's problem. They're going to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we find out fucking months beforehand, you're on the phone with Bob. It's in the air, Bob. I don't want to scare anybody. I don't just shut the fuck up.
Well,
Stop
people always,
with your outrageous from the middle of your nowhere fucking brain bullshit,
yeah.
and just act like a human being. It's in there somewhere. You're walking around on 2 feet. But
Well, the 10 years I've been watching him, I don't know if there's
ugh,
any humanity in that body or that mind. I mean, what people have to understand is Donald Trump is not a smart man. He just flailing around, doing whatever he's doing, and all the dumb fucks around him are saying, first of all, they're telling him what to do. Second of all, they're supporting him. Oh, you're doing a great job. Until that switches, I said this to Kristen. I said, somebody's got to do something about Donald Trump. The Democrats seem fine with just letting him burn down and do nothing. I think who has to do something to either get rid of him or settle him down is going to have to be the Republicans. And I think they will ultimately, but it's going to take a while. And there's going to be a lot of disasters while we're waiting.
that's what it's going to take. It's going to boil over when something so dramatic happens, and it's going to come down on one of these fuckheads that he hired, and he's going to have no excuse. And neither is the Senate, neither is Mike Johnson. Then it's going to go down. Then something's going to snap. And in the middle of all that, there is going to be a voice that's going to come through there, hopefully, that'll bring some sort of
Yeah.
rationale to the situation, whatever it may be. And enough people better start fucking listening to it.
Well, the country
Because
is in dire need of a hero. We don't have any heroes. We need somebody to step up and be that hero.
I don't
I don't
know
know
if
who that
it's
would be.
I'm not sure if it's a governor that's out there, but
I mean, the best prospect for being president, the best potential candidate right now happens to be Gavin Newsom. I like Gavin Newsom. I think he could be a presidential nominee, but that's too far off to say for sure he's going to do it. Shit happens. But what he did to Donald Trump in California, where he
right,
didn't
yeah.
tell him he was showing up and he stepped right up to Donald Trump and made that dumb fuck cower. He
Yeah, go
he
watch that video over and over again on full scale, and it's all right there. He won't let his hand go. He's standing there in 3-inch lips. Uh Melania gives him a nice smooch when you're not looking. That's got to feel great seeing that after the fact.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
I hope
Well,
it did, you sorry son of a bitch.
if you look at those two people, Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom, if you're wondering who had the BDE energy, the big dick energy, it wasn't Donald Trump. He looked like a wuss. And see, that's a
He's
good
never
lesson
had
for
that in
us.
his life, just to be clear.
Well, no, but the point is, Gavin gave us a good lesson. You got to face up to him, call him out, and prove you're stronger than he is, because he's weak as fuck. People are afraid because they're going to get fired or primaried or whatever. Somebody needs to stand up to him, slap him in the mouth, and say, "You're a dumb fuck. We're not doing that." But we have yet to find anybody that can do it. Now, of course, we've got some Democrats that speak out against him, but even they got to get a little tougher here.
They will. I think they will. It when this shit keeps going the way it's going, you're gonna see either people step up or cow down, and you're gonna need to know which ones to pay attention to. And we've already seen a couple back off. You know, the Moskowitzes and
Yeah.
you know, I think it was Elizabeth Warren that's out there telling everybody democracy's on the line, you better vote. And then in the middle of all these picks, there's some bill about the fucking bald eagle that comes through. Like, are you kidding me right now? You serious?
I was talking to Kristen, and we brought up Jared Moskowitz. I used to like Jared Moskowitz, but I'm not as big a fan anymore because he seems to flip
He's
back and
still
forth.
young and dumb. I
He's
think
young
he's
and dumb,
still
but
a little young and dumb in there. He's got the
but
right
one
attitude, though. He's got the right swagger to him, but he needs a little more seasoning and a little more finesse
he needs
to
more
kind of
finesse, but
see
he
if
needs not to bend to the Republicans. I mean, well,
not
here's
bend
one
as
thing you
much,
maybe
right?
this here's something you maybe didn't know about Moskowitz. He voted against TikTok. He wanted to shut down TikTok. But then days later, literally days later, he went and purchased a bunch of stock in Meta. That makes me question his credibility.
As it should. That's fucking weird. That's
That's
bullshit. What do
bullshit.
you have to say about it? Did he say anything about it? Do we have an answer from him? Probably
Yeah,
not.
why isn't somebody asking that to his face? That's the problem with the media. They don't
And the
face
bigger
up to
problem
anybody.
is if anything like that market related goes down, you should be fucking primaried the hell out. You should be fucking fired.
Absolutely. Then you
You
got
make an
Fetterman.
earning to live on well above the people in your district. So just fucking put your head down and work.
Right. Well,
You
then we
don't
have
think you make
Fetterman in
enough? Go
Pennsylvania.
go off into the land of the free and find another fucking job that pays you more.
Exactly. And then we got Fetterman. Who knows what the fuck he's thinking? He's goofy. He's siding with Donald Trump on some things, voting for some of his nominees. It's real frustrating. It's like Donald Trump has something on these people and say, you better cool the fuck out, otherwise we're going to expose this shit. And trust me, Donald Trump is not above that. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a lot of shit on a lot of people.
He does. That doesn't surprise me. They all have shit on each other. That's the other sick part of it. It's one of these clicky groups in high school that kind of stayed together in college, and now they're in a fucking bigger place with more responsibilities
Yeah.
and it's all this outside drama bullshit that doesn't have to be there, that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I want a representative, a politician that doesn't have crazy fucking skeletons. I mean, we all have skeletons to a certain extent, but some of the shit that's going on that we hear about now is just fucking horrific. When they were
Sexual
talking about,
abuse, fascism, racism, all
yeah,
this shit.
corruption, money.
What was it, 12 years ago? Someone sat on someone's lap and that was the end of their fucking, that was it. Game over.
Al Franken, yeah, Al
Dude's,
Franken. What he did was he took a picture with a woman. She was sitting
oh, what
back in a
now? I was
chair.
thinking of somebody else. I know what happened to Al. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about yeah, you're talking about Gary Hart.
Gary, yeah.
Yeah,
But that
Gary
just
had a
shows you
bimbo
what's he
sitting on his
doing
lap.
now. He's probably selling bicycle tires somewhere. Who knows?
He might be dead by now, but the point is this country used to be tough on politicians. If they got divorced, there was a problem. Now we got motherfuckers divorcing their wives when they're dying of cancer, and they don't get any blowback because of that. It's like they can do anything. And that's one of the problems we have with the media. Everything's out there. So none of the shock value is there anymore. If we found out that Josh Hawley divorced his wife and married some cheerleader, nobody fucking cares.
Apparently, you can be a drunkard and have a kid all at the same time, and it ain't gonna fucking matter. You can still get a job
What
somewhere in the Republican Party.
what do you think is going to happen with Pete Hegseth? I mean, the real problem of this is he's never run a big organization. He has trouble drinking. He's a sexual predator, and now he's going to run probably the biggest department in all of the government. 3 million employees, close to $1 trillion in a budget. This guy can't help but fuck this up somehow.
I give him 4 months.
Think so?
I give him 4 months. They're gonna test him, and he's gonna be fucking wasted, and they're gonna fire him. It's gonna be that goddamn simple.
Well, I brought this up before too. If you look back during Donald Trump's first reign, he had like 4 or 5 different secretaries of defense in his
That's
4
what's
years.
giving me that inclin. That's what's putting me in that mindset. He ain't gonna. They're gonna wake him up out of a stupor at 3 a.m. Hey, we're being attacked by Yugoslavia, Stan. What the fuck do we do? And he ain't gonna know anything, and he's gonna show up no pants on with his slippers and hair all fucked up, and that'll be the end of it.
Well, and he's going to be under the microscope. I got to tell you, I don't know. When I was younger, uh, I drank my fair share because I was young in college and stuff, and we drank a lot. And then when I got married and I had kids, when I got to be about 29, I quit drinking because I had kids, I had a house, I had responsibilities. And if you have any kind of drinking problem at all, and you just say, okay, I got a job, so I'm not drinking anymore, that never works out. That never works out. You're going to fall off the wagon. You're going to think, well, nobody will see me here. And then sure as hell, somebody will fucking see him and it will be splashed all over the fucking media.
It's gonna go everywhere. We're gonna see it. Yep. And it's gonna cost him his job that daddy gave him. He's gonna go back
Yeah.
to Foxland where you can say anything, do anything, and consider it news.
Well, when this airs on Thursday, there's going to be 3 confirmation hearings today and Friday. There's going to be RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and Cash Patel. One is worse than the next one.
No, fuck no, and go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw that Carolyn Kennedy came out on social media and spoke out about
Or the
her
niece.
cousin RFK.
Oh, cousin.
Now that it's JFK's daughter,
Right,
Schlossberg's mom. She's about my age, and she had some
right.
terrible things to say about him. She said he has as pets he has birds of prey, and she said that makes sense since he's a fucking predator. That's what she said about him. And she said he'd done some
Jesus
crazy
Christ.
stuff, drugs and all this stuff. He was telling about how he had snakes. And back in his college days, he thought it was funny to take baby chicks and mice, throw them in a blender, spin it up, and then feed it to the birds of prey. This is a sick fuck. He cut a head off a fucking whale. He's picked bear carcasses up. He's got a worm in his brain. How does this guy even get close to being confirmed?
You have people in the Senate that are being threatened with their jobs, their lives, their family members,
Yeah.
their skeletons in their closet that other people know about that they shouldn't. It's all
Yeah.
this fucked up underneath layer shit that shouldn't be there, that should not be. And it's got to stop. It's got to, I mean, the dark money, the fucking with the stock markets, right before COVID went down and everything shut down, there was that board meeting with 7 CFOs or whatever in there, pulling their stocks, moving shit around.
Yeah.
Everybody forgot about that.
Yeah, that's the
Which
problem. We have
easy to
so many
do
fucked
when
up
you're
things
watching a
going on.
ticker on your TV, counting the fucking bodies every day that are
Yeah.
going into mass graves.
Yeah. Yeah. How bad does it go, do you think, for Donald Trump? I mean, when I never thought he'd get in, but now that he's in, I mean, the disasters could be horrific. Whether it be the optics for deporting people, whether it be some kind of pandemic, or just people getting their livelihoods taken away from them, either through welfare or Section 8, or just their jobs in the case with the federal government. None of this bodes well for turning out good. It's going to be disastrous for a lot of people. And I can't believe that wouldn't be enough to get people to say, "Oh, Donnie's fucked." But I wonder.
Everything he already told his voters. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. All right, just a little bit of it. 90% of the things that he told you during the campaign, he already walked back.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to come down in the grocery store, if anything. Right. Gas has damn near stayed the same. It hasn't gone down. What I'm sitting back watching now is all this AI riff. China drops this shit you've been blabbing about with all your buddies, and to watch it just blow up in your face, and the market falls.
I took some joy in that, because it exposed a lot. Exposed Donald Trump. It exposed the whole tech.
It made me crack a smile
business
today. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it did me too.
Felt good. Felt good.
The thing about it is that they are saying we got to put billions, investments in billions, and these guys come out with something that's better for $6 million. That means these tech bros were fucking grifting us, and apparently grifting Donald Trump too. So now they're in a shitstorm because this comes out and their shit tanks. And I got to tell you, there's a little joy in my heart when billionaires take a ass kicking. I enjoy that, and hopefully they'll get more.
That's how it should be. That's how it's always been.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to continue to go once the majority of all these people see what really happens when you're the dog that caught the fucking car. You think you got the back bumper and that bitch goes into reverse. Watch what happens.
Well, we have to look at all our tech that we're dealing with right now. Take, for example, Google. Everybody uses Google. They're very wealthy. But if you notice, the CEO of Google was sitting right next to Donald Trump at the inauguration. And I don't know if you heard this, but this made me laugh. And it made me mad too. You know how Donald Trump wants to rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America, and wants to revert back to Mount McKinley from Mount Denali. It's silly. It's stupid. Who fucking cares? It's a distraction. But then Google comes out yesterday and says, on our Google Maps, we are going to change it to the Gulf of America and Mount McKinley. Well, you pussy ass bitches, you really want to do that? I tell you what, I'm not going to use Google to search anymore. I'll just go to DeepSeek and let the Chinese fucking deal with my shit. Because at this point, apparently we can trust the Chinese more than we can trust a fucking American technology.
Fuck it. Why not? They're showing us that they're better at handling these things. And they have been for a long time.
Well, I know my son has chat GPTs, technologically involved, and he's paying like $20 a month for chat GPT. And I sent him the link. I said, check this out. He goes, holy shit, this is better than chat GPT. And it costs nothing. I mean,
nothing. It's free.
AI was supposed to be open source in the first place. But then, of course, all these greedy fucks grab onto it and tune it up, and then they charge you money for it. I'm laughing that they aren't going to be able to charge money for it anymore, because DeepSeek will come out with more shit. They've got one with a graphics, one with pictures and videos and stuff like that. They're going to decimate the whole tech industry in this country, and I know it's going to affect the stock market, but I'm taking a lot of joy in seeing these guys get fucked by
If
Chinese.
it stays to that sector, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
Let your
yeah.
AI shit fucking implode. We'll all still be running off of the old style hardwares or whatever.
Well, the interesting thing is the government and Donald Trump and everybody's worried about TikTok because it's a Chinese app. I got to tell you, DeepSeek is probably worse than TikTok. TikTok was the hot commodity, was the popular app, and now this DeepSeek comes out, and they've got to deal with that. And people went to Red Note, the other Chinese app. People are basically saying we're tired of your shit. We'll go to fucking China and we'll give them all our shit just to fuck you guys over.
Yeah, and it's right there when you go onto the you okay to the communist China party or something when you log into the
Yeah,
but it's crazy shit right there. But to go to
it is.
that extent, to go to just drift over there and take that, and when it's already being labeled as this thing that China has, and then you watch people honestly don't give a shit. And then
Yeah,
the way TikTok did it, they had the message, "Oh, sorry, we're leaving," and all the creators are, they're sad, they're uh distraught and everything, and understandably. And then a little 12-hour fucking gap in everyone's life, and then
yeah.
hey, President Trump worked with us and we got it back on. And if you could just rewind your brain to August 2020, it was right there. He's the motherfucker that had the idea to shut it down in the first place. Just wake the fuck up. Just pay attention for more than a day.
Well, this is what Donald Trump does. He creates problems and then he saves us from the problem and claims to be a hero. This is typical narcissistic
Well, that's
behavior.
just it. You can't rewind to August 2020. To us, that was only 4 years ago. To everything that's going, that's 300,000 shit piles ago when
Yeah.
you look at today. So that's just the way it does. He's got to pile it on, keep it going. And I saw a clip, I believe it was from the new movie that's out, or newer movie. Is it The Apprentice?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, but the clip
I
I
haven't
saw
either.
looked pretty awesome. So I'm gonna look into that. And if any of our listeners use Amazon Prime Video, there is the documentary Unfit, which was
Yeah.
really good. If you haven't watched that, check that out.
The problem is a lot of people aren't using Amazon anymore because they're just as culpable with the billionaire bullshit that we're dealing with. Bezos, Zuckerberg, all these
Now I'm hearing
fucks.
commercials for some medical service that Amazon put out. It's like, do you not have enough? I mean, what else? Are you gonna make your own car now? Like
Yeah.
what else? It's like Roy Wood, the awesome comedian, said, you guys have so much money that you have to buy your own Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
That's what
Exactly.
billionaires do. You can't come up with enough things to buy that you have to go that far. And it's
Yeah.
blatantly obvious. It's a fact. It's right there. We all see it. But then poof, nothing. Nothing happens. Nothing,
Elon's Elon's
no
getting a little
ethics.
mad. Elon's getting a little mad because people are starting to call the Tesla car the swastika car.
I laughed my ass off when you said that this morning. That
Yeah.
was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
the
need to we
swastika.
need to keep cramming it down Elon Musk's mouth because he hates it. And anytime we find something that drives them nuts or gets under their skin, whether it be Donald Trump or Elon Musk or any of them, we got to keep slamming it home. We've got to take them out of their element.
Yeah, 100%. And To go off that, the one that I saw was it was that dumbass T symbol that he uses for Tesla, but the
Yeah,
one half was just him holding his hand up.
yeah,
So that was
I
pretty
like that.
good. That was pretty good.
I like that. And then of course we've got all these people that are trying to explain away what he was doing. Oh, he was just saying, "I give my heart to you," and then people are saying, "Well, go ahead, do it on video, see what happens." And a couple people did because they thought they were smart. Motherfuckers ended up getting fired for it because they got a lot of heat. They thought they were above it all, that they were smart. You can't pick on Elon Musk. They do it. Everybody knows it's a uh, Zeke Heil type salute for the Nazis. Now, the thing is, it isn't that hard to believe since he came from apartheid South Africa, with his family
It
was made
couldn't be
money
any
on.
more clear. All these other excuses for it, it's just it's all they are. They're just excuses for it, and it's
There's
fucking
always an excuse.
embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, as a young man who's
And I
raising a
hope these
family and doing
charges
this,
come out of Germany that are
I do
taking
too.
place too.
I do too. I mean,
I went to
Elon
Germany.
Musk.
They don't fuck around with that shit. You can't fuck around with that shit. It's one of the worst things that happened in recent history. That's why, you know.
I mean, if he would have done that in Germany, he would have been arrested immediately. They wouldn't. You're right. They wouldn't fuck around with that. They don't think it's funny.
Somebody would have slit his throat when he got to the fucking prison.
No doubt.
Cops over there, it's really strange. You'll be riding around and you won't see them. But when you do see them, they're either on a call or they have somebody pulled over.
Really.
They're like the fire department over there. So when if you're out speeding, my cousin's wife, well now wife, got a speeding ticket going 30 kilometers over the limit when we were there. Her license got suspended. She's got to redo the class, which is €1,000, and you have to wait 6 months before you can even try.
Wow.
That was for speeding. Now, if you think we implemented some shit like that, you would have, nobody can talk about this anymore with all the other shit going on. But how many DUIs are still happening today? How many car crashes still happen in that manner today? And
Yeah, it
it's just
goes
one
back to
more
the
thing.
judicial system is a lot weaker than we were led to believe, especially when it comes to politicians and people with money. Um, I want to, I always laugh when somebody says no one's above the law. Well, we know the president of the United States is above the law. A former president of the United States is above the law. Most members of Congress are above the law. To tell us that all they're saying is you low life people are not above the law, but all of us are special. We're elites. We're whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah, whenever he spouted off that it's a two-tier justice system when all this shit was coming down on him, yeah, we already knew that. And
Yeah,
it wasn't left against right. It's people with money and people without money.
absolutely.
Clear as day. Anybody can see that, except
Well, yeah.
his followers, apparently, and obviously. But
Well, do you think people wake up to that? Because, they want us to believe it's right against left, Democrats versus Republicans. And you make the point, I've made the point before. It is really us against them because there are Democrats that are fucked up too and grift money and don't serve us the way they should. Um, we thought people might be waking up to the class situation when uh, uh, when the CEO from United Health was shot. But I think there people are starting to feel it now when they look at Elon Musk and all this stuff. I think people are tired of being the serfs, the people that have to do without while everybody else just gets fucking wealthy.
that's what it's gonna come down to. It's gonna burn. It's gonna get real hot, and then it's gonna simmer down, and then you're gonna be able to step back and look and just clearly see what's right and what's wrong if you haven't seen it already.
Right.
And then there's going to be that voice that comes through on our side, whether we know who it is or not. We don't do that. We don't do these things that they're doing.
Right.
You might think we do. Fuck no, we don't.
Right.
This is what we do. And it's going to go from there, and it's going to spread. And, you know, a lot of people don't react until till it's too late or till they're shown that they fucked up. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Now, I've always said that Donald Trump and the Republican Party will burn down. It's inevitable. You can't behave the way you do. What they're doing isn't sustainable. They will burn down. But I'll be honest with you. I thought they would have burned down a long time ago. I thought they would have burned down after the 2020 election. And then, should we have won in the 2024 election, they should have burned down. But God damn it, they're just like cockroaches. They survive everything.
Yeah, that's what it is with this squeak out of an election that he pulled off again. And I'm sure it feels that way to them. But somebody asked the question on one of the podcasts I was listening to, would it have been better if Trump did win in 2020?
Well, we'd be over it.
You know,
It
we'd
might
be
have
on the
been.
other side of that, but then you'd have to sit back and watch. You know, it makes you think how big that fire would have gotten before the flames went down a little bit. But
Well, maybe they would have impeached him a third time, and the Republicans would have said, I've had enough of this shit. Maybe if he would have won, it would have been better.
yeah, he's gonna it if there's an impeachment again for something that he does, it'll go through with flying colors this time. There won't be any.
No, and it'll be initiated by the Republicans, not the
It'll be
Democrats.
initiated. It'll have to be. They got all the strings now, but they're to save their own asses, to try and save face somehow. Look, he's old, you know, he got us this far, but he can't hang no more. Vance is here, he's fine. You know, let's go. And then hopefully by that time it's going to be too late. We're going
Yeah.
to know what the fuck we're doing, what we're riding with, what issues we have on top of the ones that are already in front of us. But it's like you said before, when with everything being so reactionary and so immediate right now,
Right.
everybody, and it's stupid and simple, but it's the truth. It's these fucking cell phones that made everything that way. We have
True.
to pace ourselves. We have to calm down. We have to slow down. We have to take things slower than what they are right off the bat. And if you can do
Yeah, I agree.
that, you can have more time to observe what's going on. And then from there, you have to just keep on going forward, know what you're gonna
Well,
keep going with. And then I mean, the facts, everything's gonna be on your side. We're gonna know where we're going by that point. And you know,
I think you're right about
if Kamala's still there and she runs again, it'll be interesting. But
I don't think she will. I don't think they'll make her the nominee. I think we proved that we're racist and sexist. They're going to have to get a white guy, unfortunately, and I
well,
don't
I
think
mean,
that's
like
the
in a
best
in a
choice.
primary setting, when you know everybody throws their name in that ring,
Yeah, you could do that.
uh, you know what I mean? And I think there will be a white knight, if you pardon the pun. I don't mean it that
Yeah.
way, but I think there's going to be that person that does stick out, whether it's Gavin or somebody else. You know, for what it's worth now, I know he's disappointed a lot of people, but Barack Obama came out of nowhere, and that man was so
True.
inspirational to this whole entire fucking country. And when you go back and watch John McCain's farewell speech after he lost, you know, that's what we got to get back to. That's where our government was working with each other, compromising, bipartisanship. Yeah, there was other shit going on, money and background money and uh, Citizens United needs to be one of those things that just has to fucking go sooner or later.
Yeah,
And
that's a big problem for us. As long as money's involved in politics, we're going to continue to have the problems we have.
and it's right there. It's everybody can see what it is. You can put it in small enough words to make it more understandable to everybody.
Yeah.
The fairness doctrine has to come back. That
Yeah.
To with
Oh, without
everything
the
that can
fairness
be
doctrine,
easily spread out there and all these people to just eat it up, to sit back and think that there's actually a debate between the earth is flat right now, that should give
that's
you a fucking clear indication that there's a problem with what is happening.
yeah. Yeah, I agree.
That's when everybody should have been, oh my God, how many stupid fucks are actually out here?
There are a lot. And I swear to God, there are people out there that will sit and argue with me about flat earth. Um,
You know what? I'm
and
done. I'm gonna fucking smack you upside the head.
yeah,
I'm
that's
not
all you can really
arguing
do.
anymore. I'm not gonna debate you anymore. I'm gonna kick you in the balls or smack you in the head
Yeah, that's how I feel about Trumplefucks too.
and
People say,
offer
"Well, you
you
should
a
have some
beer.
on and debate these guys." Debating a Trumplefuck is always the same. It's kind of fun when you're doing it because you get a lot of shit off your chest, but it's pointless. And these are people are pitiful. And it's like the flat earthers or anybody who believes anything that Donald Trump said, you can't argue with them because even if you give them the facts, they'll deny it. So what's the point? There is no point.
No, it's past argument at this point. That's why you just have to hit them with the facts. They're not gonna like it. It ain't gonna change their mind, but you're gonna know that you're right. And
Well,
that's
at
the
least I
important
got,
part.
yeah.
If they don't understand it, then that's on them.
I've had people say to me, "You think you're smarter than everybody." I don't think I'm smarter than everybody, but I know I'm smarter than that motherfucker. If you support Donald Trump, I guarantee you I'm smarter, you're smarter. Anybody who has a breath and understands who Donald Trump is, we're all smarter. I'm going to wrap up the Rational Boomer podcast. Matt, thank you for joining us again today from Ohio. I hope.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mike. I hope I did my due diligence here, and
Oh, yeah, you always do. You
I
always
want to
do.
give my shout out to all the great guests. Old Soul, you're
There's a bunch of them.
amazing. Ed, keep coming back, and
Eric and
haven't heard from Jason in a while. Get back on here,
yeah,
Jace.
he'll probably call me to later today. Now that you mentioned it.
And yeah, I keep having this weird back of my neck tingling feeling when it's been too long since I've heard from Abe.
Yeah,
And the last two times I heard from him, it's been that way. So it's always great hearing from him.
yeah, Abe's a good dude. I
And
like Abe. Abe and I don't always agree with things, but his heart's in the right place. He sometimes get a little fatalistic, and that bugs me a little. But he knows his shit, and he does a good job.
Will, you're awesome. I ain't forgot about you.
Yeah, Will's pretty fired up. I tell you
Uh,
what, if I'm having a down day and I just don't, I feel low energy, I just have Will on and go. I'll talk to you later.
yeah, get Will and DeBoner on, and we'll be fine. You'll be
The
fine.
boner.
And
Yeah, suave de boner.
um, what was the I had something I was
So
gonna say, but
so you've obviously been watching the TikTok lives too, if you know Suave de
that was
boner.
it too. I got on yeah, I've been listening. I listened to every episode, but I'm on TikTok now too. My sister she got me to burst my bubble with it. So I'm gonna get my account and everything set up. I won't be making videos or nothing, but I'm gonna put my notifications on, and hopefully I can catch you when you're doing a live. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. If you what's your handle going to be? So I can, if I see you, I can hit you up.
I, I did follow you, but
How do I
it's
recognize you?
actually a joke on my nickname that my buddy came up with, but oh no, my handle's right above the name, right? Just like what
Right, right.
right above the icon. It's just Boomer86.
Okay, cool. I'll check
But
it
like I
out.
said, I got to do some work on it and get familiar with it because right now I think I'm kind of somehow linked to somebody else's. So when I get that under control, I'll let you know.
Okay, cool, cool. All right. Well, thank you very much. It's always great to have you on the show. Welcome back anytime. Those of you listening, I appreciate you taking the time to listen. Hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.